Well, we've made it to the conference finals. We got the Western Conference Finals and the Eastern Conference Finals coming up on tomorrow, and I'm so excited. Let's start off with the Western Conference Finals. I'm really pumped about this series. We got the number 4 seeded Dallas Mavericks taking on the number 3 seeded Golden State Warriors in the Western Conference Finals. Both teams rivals of Houston, so again, it's going to be tough for Houston fans to really choose, but I think this series is going to be an offensive shootout. Basically, whoever gets the ball last, I think, would more likely win. And it's really a matter of, can the Mavericks keep up with the Warriors offensively? Can these teams go blow for blow, really dictate how the series will go? I think it's going to be like a 130 to 120 type game, but the key thing for me is that if this series does end up going to 7 games, there's probably a 50% chance that it does. I would heavily lean towards the Mavericks to really wear out Steph Curry and Klay Thompson at that point. And I feel like Luka can really keep things going and the Mavericks would be in a good position. But I mean, the Mavericks, they're on fire at this point. Just Luka Doncic and the complete team just led an effort against the Phoenix Suns, just beating them up in this game 7, 132 to 90. The Mavericks led by 41 at one point. They led by 30 at halftime, 57 to 27. It was arguably the greatest beatdown in NBA playoffs history, and they just went on a tear. And Luka is one of the greatest playoff performers we've seen in a long time. At the young age of 23, he had 35 points in Game 7. He's averaging about 32 points per game in the playoffs. He's going to have to go toe-to-toe with Steph Curry, and the Mavericks advanced to the conference finals for the first time since 2011 when they won it all. They beat the Suns 4-3 in Phoenix. Jalen Brunson is going to be really key for the Mavericks once again. Again, Luka is going to put up his numbers. He's going to do his thing. I think opponents are going to let him do that. It's really just a matter of the others really contributing, whether that be Jalen Brunson in the backcourt or some other guys, some other shooters. That's what the help Luka needs on this team. Nobody can carry a team. Nobody. So that's just not going to happen. That's really going to be key. Jalen Brunson, he put up 28 points in Game 3, put up 24 points in Game 7. He's going to have to be really important. Rest of the shooters like Reggie Bullock, Maxi Kleber, who didn't really have too great of a series against Phoenix, Dorian Finney-Smith, they're going to have to step up, make some threes, and that's really what it's going to come down to. Who can shoot better than the other team? Both teams can shoot great, but really whoever shoots the 3 at a higher percentage clip is going to win. Dwight Powell, on the inside, he's going to have to be physical against Draymond Green for the Mavericks, and that's really what the Mavericks need to do. For the Warriors, they beat the Grizzlies 4-2, but they did get lucky with injuries. Once again, Ja Morant was out for games 5 and 6. At least I think he was out for game 4 as well. But they got lucky with Ja being out. I think the Memphis Grizzlies would have made this a game 7. The Warriors did look a little bit flustered in some situations, especially in game 5 without Ja Morant. They got destroyed by 40. So Golden State, again, I feel like they're a little bit weaker than they were in years past, but again, to me, they're just the overwhelming favorite at this point. Steph, again, he's been great. 27 points per game in the playoffs, at 29 in that Game 6. Klay Thompson, 20 points per game, but he had 30 in Game 6 because it's Game 6 Klay, of course. They're going to have to play even better to beat the Mavericks. I think Draymond is going to play a big role inside. Again, he does dirty stuff, but he's really important for this team to run their offense. And I want to talk about 2 really key players for both these teams that are really going to have to step up. The 2 big players that I think are going to be key is Jordan Poole for the Warriors and Spencer Dinwiddie for the Dallas Mavericks. Jordan Poole has been a great scorer off the bench for this team, especially in the playoffs. 19 points per game in the playoffs, at 31 in Game 1 against Memphis, at 27 in Game 3. Spencer Dinwiddie, he's going to have to contribute off the bench if the Mavericks are going to have any chance, like he did in Game 7, where he was just amazing at 30 points with 5 out of 7 from downtown. He had 19 points in Game 6 as well. So both of these 2 are really going to have to contribute. Whichever bench can really score some more points, I think that's really going to dictate where this series goes as well. But end of the day, I do have the Warriors winning this series in 6 games. I think Golden State's going to have a good defensive plan. I think they can play great on the road, unlike the Phoenix Suns, who really struggled on the road. I feel like Golden State can definitely steal a couple of games in Dallas. I think Dallas is going to have a much harder time defensively guarding the Golden State backcourt. Of course, I think Golden State is way more consistent. They're going to be more clutch than Phoenix. I think Golden State wraps this up in 6 games, stealing a few in Dallas. If the Warriors are going to win, they're going to have to win this in 6 games or less. If it goes to 7, I really like the Mavericks' chances. But again, I wouldn't be surprised if the Mavericks do end up winning. And now the Eastern Conference Finals got the number 1 seeded Miami Heat taking on the number 2 seeded Boston Celtics. This is the Eastern Conference Finals that I had predicted. I think we're going to see a defensive showdown compared to an offensive showdown in the West. I think both teams play really hard, play scrappy defense. Really hard series to predict. The Celtics, again, they've been the best team in the NBA after January 23rd, 28-7 record. They didn't do too great on Giannis. Giannis was balling out like crazy. Besides that game 7, they showed up big in game 6 and 7. The Boston Celtics down 3-2, won both those games. Big one in Milwaukee, big one in game 7, won 4-3, and a beat up of that game 7 was incredible, 109-81, where Tatum was just so clutch down the stretch, where he won game 4 and game 6 in Milwaukee, both clutch performances in Milwaukee. Grant Williams was big for them in game 7 with 27 points. He hit so many threes. So basically you have a lot of different performance for Boston in these games. You had Al Horford, who came through with 30 points in game 4. And Jason Tatum he's just a superstar, man. There's no other way to put it. 28 points per game in the playoffs so far. Had a career high 46 points in game 6. Shot around 50% from 3 in game 6 and 7 combined. He just came through big time whenever they needed it. Boston is tough. They hang around. They can play strong defense on Jimmy Butler. They're going to have to be better inside, though, in the paint on guys like Bam Adebayo for the Heat. Now going to the Heat, they did win in 6 games against the Philadelphia 76ers, who did not have their best player, Joel Embiid, for the first 2 games. The Heat ended up going into Game 5 with the series tied. They won Game 5 in a beat-up at home, closed it out in Game 6. Jimmy Butler has been on a tear, 28 points per game in the playoffs for him, had 32 points in that closeout Game 6. He's just a baller. You have new guys like Max Strus, you have Gabe Vincent, you have Victor Oladipo coming off the bench, and the Heat are not even at full strength. You still have Kyle Lowry. He's going to be out more than likely for Game 1. He only played in Games 3 and 4 for a little bit, so still a big loss for Miami with no Kyle Lowry, who brings that dog mentality on defense. So if the Heat are going to win, they're going to have to play really physical defense on Tatum, force it out of his hands, and Miami is going to have to shoot well, and they're going to have to somehow keep up offensively. But in my opinion, I think the Celtics do end up winning this series in 7 games. I'm going with the Celtics to have a little more explosiveness offensively with 2 clutch and big-time scores. Of course, in Jason Tatum, who I think is mostly the case here, but Jaylen Brown can come through as well. You have Al Horford as well. You saw how Grant Williams can be as well. They have the better shooting. They can rely on more than one person down the stretch compared to Jimmy Butler only for the Heat. I think Game 7 in Miami. I think clutch performances by the Celtics, just like the previous series, comes through. Boston's going to have a good game plan to slow down Miami. Again, both teams are really greatly coached by Ime Udoka for the Celtics, Eric Spoelstra for Miami. But again, I wouldn't be surprised if Miami does win, if they force some turnovers and get some key stops. But again, both these series are really unpredictable. They could go either way. So my NBA Finals would be Celtics versus the Warriors at this point. And, like I said, I think the pathway is just paved for the Warriors right now. They should be able to beat Mavericks, and I don't think the Celtics will be as consistent as they do. I think they'd be worn out playing 2 Game 7 series, so I think the Warriors would take it in 6. I know, obviously I'm disappointed that Golden State has this clear pathway, but we'll see. You never know with Boston. They could come through. But hope you guys enjoyed my conference finals picks. Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, comment in the comment section who your picks are, and I'll see you in the next one.